If you've clicked on this video, you probably already know who Hamza is. But if for any reason you've been living under a rock for the past 3 years, Hamza is a modern day cult leader. He has inspired millions and millions of young men to get on their self-improvement journeys and to become the men that our society so needs right now. In doing that, he has amassed 2.2 million subscribers on YouTube and makes well over $100,000 every single month with his companies. I've had the privilege to work alongside him for 3 months. I was the affiliate marketing coach at Adana School. I've coached well over 800 students and taken them from an absolute beginner to an absolute expert in short form content. Long story short, in today's video, I'm going to share the 3 most important lessons that I've learned working with him, and also hopefully make you believe that you too can work with these big influencers one day, or who knows, maybe even become like them in the near future. I'm also going to reveal why I stopped working with him, so stick around till the end of the video for that. Take a pen, take a notebook, and take good notes on this video because these lessons are coming directly from Hamza. Also, a quick disclaimer for the people that have the attention span of a goldfish: please make sure you hit the full screen button and close all the other tabs so you watch this video with complete focus. The first lesson that I learned is guard your time. Danish, the operations manager at Adana School, and also my mentor, was telling me the story about when he needed to make a really important business decision, and if by chance he ended up making the wrong call, the business would end up losing hundreds of thousands of dollars in cold hard cash. So he absolutely needed Hamza's input on it. The only problem was that Hamza was on a vacation, and he literally told everyone before going that he will not be picking up any calls, he will not be replying to any texts. And don't get me wrong, these types of vacations can be really productive sometimes. Danish tried calling him 100 times, he tried texting him 100 times, but Hamza never replied to a text. He never picked up a call. It was actually funny to see Hamza being that committed to stay away from work, and just looking at Hamza being willing to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars just to stick to his routine made me realize that I need to take my own time more seriously. So I got really deep into time management techniques. I watched all of Ali Abdaal's videos, I read books, and I came across like 50 to 100 time management techniques. And the one that worked the absolute best for me is called the ideal week. Basically, all you need to do for this exercise is plot out your entire dream week. How would you live your life if you could do absolutely anything? How many times would you work out? How many days would you work? How many hours would you spend with your family? Would you spend time with all of your friends? Do you want to play video games? When do you want to sleep? When do you want to wake up? You answer all these questions and then you put that on a calendar. And once you're ready with the calendar, all you need to do is you need to go out there and do the hard part. And this is going to be very difficult. When I started out with my own ideal week, I faced a lot of challenges. I had to say no to my friends more often. I had to switch my phone off and throw it out the window because it's really distracting to have a phone beside you whenever you're trying to work. My friends would be like, "Hey, let's hang out." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to. I'm working right now." It was definitely hard to say no at the start, but eventually they also started realizing that I'm really working hard on myself. So they started giving me the space I needed. But it was difficult at the start, and you're going to face these difficulties as well. You're going to have to sacrifice screen time, you're going to have to sacrifice hanging out with your friends, going out every night, playing video games, the stupid shit that you do that you know that you should not be doing. You will have to avoid that to live your ideal week. So here's a little action item for you. Plan out your ideal week, then write down all the things that could distract you from it, like your phone, your friends. It could be anything, right? Anything that distracts you from your ideal week. And then go out there and live your ideal week. Once I saw the progress that I made, I was so fulfilled. I just felt like I had conquered the world. Not only because this pushed me forward in life, but also because I kept my word. And that's the most important thing. If there's one thing you need to know about Hamza, is that he's an extremely regimented guy. And I'm trying to incorporate more of that myself. Next lesson is not something I learned from Hamza. It's something I learned from Danish, but I put it in this video because it's just that important. And the lesson is focus on the positives. Now I know that sounds kinda gay, but let me explain. So there was this one time when I was hopping on one of my first coaching calls at Adana School. Don't get me wrong, I was already really good at it, but there was always room for improvement, right? So what Danish used to do is he used to watch my entire coaching calls, and then he used to give me feedback on the parts that I could improve on. So Danish noticed that on the calls I was not really making the other person feel heard. Whenever someone was asking me a question, I would be listening really closely actually, but I would be either looking here and there and like everywhere. I wouldn't be actually looking at them, at the screen, at the camera, so they felt heard. And sure, I was, listening, I was paying attention, but it is also about making them feel heard, right? He made that little observation, and then he came on our weekly call, and instead of telling me that, oh, Aman, you're a really bad listener, you need to improve on it. Instead of doing that, what he told me was really great. He told me that, hey, I saw that you're listening to the students pretty well because your answers are very, very intricate. But to make them feel heard, what you can also do is incorporate active listening. So when you're listening to them, what you need to do is you need to look at the camera and you need to make them feel like they're the only person on planet Earth. And that's what he did. So let me break it down for you. Instead of starting with a negative, instead of telling me that, oh, you're bad at this, he started with a positive. He told me that, oh, you are a really, really good listener. So he started with the positive, and then he gave me constructive criticism. He never told me that I'm a bad listener. He told me that you are a good listener, but if you improve on this, you're gonna be an excellent listener. And that small shift, you don't know the amount of skill that small shift takes. Let me tell you a little about Danish. Danish has hired over 800 people in his life. And let me tell you something about me now. I'm a big introvert. I'm yet to talk to 80 people in my life, and Danish has hired 800. Imagine the difference. If you're someone that is stuck at the lower levels of communication skills, what you probably do is you go to your friends, you go to your parents, you go to your colleagues, you go to your employees, and then you nag them about absolutely everything. Oh, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you could have done this better. Oh, I really want you to focus on doing this. Why are you not doing this? You're being too negative when you do that. What you need to do instead is you need to lead with a positive frame. I've seen people justify their lower levels of communication skills by saying that, oh, I'm just like that. I'm just a straight up person. I tell the truth all the time. It's not like you're not telling the truth when you have a positive frame. It's just the frame, right? It's just you framing it completely different. Doing this invokes the Pygmalion effect. And the Pygmalion effect is basically a psychological phenomenon where higher expectations lead to better performance and lower expectations lead to lower performance. So when Danish started telling me that I'm a good listener, it affected the thoughts that I have about myself. If he told me that, hey, you're a bad listener, and he could have done that, my skill level could be completely different. You have to realize that your words hold a lot of power. If you're someone that's responsible for managing a lot of people, you're literally responsible to upskill them, to level them up. If you always start with a negative frame, people are going to start to hate you. They wouldn't want to talk to you. And instead of fixing their problems, they'll start avoiding it. Having a positive frame is always the way to go. And I can tell you this by experience. The moment I started having a positive frame, my employees started producing more. They started doing better work. What you need to understand, you're literally telling people the same thing. You just need to do it in a positive way. After learning this lesson, not only has my relationship with everyone around me improved, but somehow I'm also uplifting everyone. They're performing better, they're doing more things, they're doing better things. And that's what positive frame did for me. The third and the final lesson that I've learned is literally everyone is figuring it out. The biggest influencers you see online, Iman, Andrew, Hamza, Alex Hormozi, you name it, Mr. Beast. These are all normal guys like you and me that just do the right things. They might look like they're special, but they're human just like you and me. I'm gonna sound really crass right now, but everyone, including the athletes you look up to, the influencers you look up to, the billionaires, these guys also take their pants off and take a shit every single morning like you and me do. They breathe oxygen like you and me do. They drink water like you and me do. They have the same blood like you and me do. there's absolutely nothing differentiating them from us. If you're someone that doesn't get to see the daily, the mundane stuff that these guys do, it might be hard to like not put them on a pedestal, but you need to eventually stop doing that if you want to get to that level, because anything you put on a pedestal, you already assume that it's above. You might have heard that quote, right? Treat her like a celebrity and she's gonna treat you like you're a fan. It goes the same way in all aspects of life. If you're putting a car on a pedestal, you're probably never gonna have it. If you're like, oh shit, Lamborghini, like these guys are doing something that I don't. You need to normalize these things in your head, and similarly, you also need to normalize the fact that these guys are also human beings. They just did the right things at the right time, and if you do the same things, if you put in the work and you build the skill set, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from being where they are today. I'm someone who struggled a lot with this. When I started working with Iman and I had an interview with him, my heart was pounding, bro. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And after working with like the biggest names you can imagine, I've realized that these guys are human, and even they make mistakes pretty often. Hamza started an affiliate program, and the entire purpose of the program was to make the students their first $1,000 in 30 days. I was hired as a coach, and the affiliates got millions and millions of views for Hamza's brand. But what we soon found out is that people were not willing to buy the expensive stuff, watching only the short form content. We got millions and millions of views, but the amount of affiliates that were making money was less. So as a moral obligation, Hamza had to stop the entire affiliate program. And it takes balls to come out to your audience and tell them that, hey, I made an honest mistake. I was actually trying to help you, but the promise that I made, I wasn't delivering on. This should tell you that even Hamza, at the level he's playing, even he is trying to figure things out. Okay, these guys might have 1 year planned in advance, maybe 2 years, but none of these guys, I can tell you, know what they'll be doing for sure in 10 years. And if you are someone that is starting out, all you need to do is put one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll find yourself at a point where you couldn't think you are. That's the exact same thing that happened with me. I took one step at a time every single day, and I found myself making more money than I thought I would be making this money, but so soon, so early, it was a surprise to me. So if these guys got to that level, and I just like got one step ahead of where I was, if you're someone that's starting out, you can get to me. So hopefully you take that lesson, and today just, plan out your first 5 steps. Maybe it's building your website, maybe it's outreaching to 10 people. You don't need to know what you'll be doing in 1 year or 2 years. One step at a time, one brick at a time.